Hello. We even sound alike now. Oh my God. That's just terrible.
That is funny. Oh, so funny.
Oh, it's Tuesday again. Here we are.
Oh, yeah. We had a nice 3-day weekend.
Yes.
You and I worked a lot during our
We did.
weekend at home, getting prepped for some stuff that we have going on at the shop here. But we weren't at the shop, so it was nice.
It was a little bit of a reprieve, even though we were still kind of working. We weren't working here.
We weren't working here. We weren't together. No.
Hello. Hi, Mom.
We spent a lot of time texting this weekend.
Look what I did. And oh crap.
Yeah, this is not what it's supposed to be.
This is not what it was supposed to be. Yes.
Yeah. So but
Crazy,
it was
crazy.
nice, and it was toasty this weekend.
It was very
It
warm.
sure was toasty. So
Yes. My pool warmed up.
I bet.
Yes, it's closer to 80 degrees instead of 75. I was like, I don't do 75. I put my feet in. I was like, we'll just sit on the side of the pool.
Oh yeah.
I don't do 75. That was cold.
Yeah. That is a little limiting.
Yeah. Legs are fine. As soon as it hits your belly, it's like, woo. Mm.
Yeah, we're not kids anymore, right? We don't just jump into the ice cold water.
Not this kid. Not me.
So we have some new stuff going on. Our little, they call it the ticker bar. So our little scrolling
yes,
words.
No stock numbers, but it's a ticker bar.
So we have a OESD event coming up very soon. The information is on Facebook.
Yep.
It is on the newsletter that we sent out, which is also posted to Facebook. And if you are part of our email
it was
list,
on there too.
It was in the group. So it's all about cards. And I got to tell you, OESD was like the first person to start doing cards a long time ago. They're beautiful. Come a long way. Yes.
Have some really good ones. There it is, right there.
Yep.
Right there.
So I think the Facebook posting might be a little bit confusing. So if you touch the event, because it's not actually a Facebook hosted event, at the top of it, there's a little thing that says eventbrite.com. That's the button that
sign
you push.
Up information.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And when you hit that little spot, it takes you to the registration.
Yeah, and I'll get that posted on our website on the OESD page of the site. I don't have that there at the moment.
Yeah.
Been kind of tied up doing some other stuff, but I will get that there. So
yeah, so that's coming up, and that should be really fun.
Yes.
They always put on such a nice show, and there's a coupon code that I think there'll be 25% off. It's already on the little thing there, so for sure it's
Everybody
a good time.
Likes a good sale, right?
That's right. It's a good time to stock up, and it helps because you are stocking. It's like you're shopping through us, but it's kind of easier for us because you shop on
you shop
their website and
get
they
the credit
ship it and they
take
pay us.
Care of all the work.
That's right.
Right. Fantastic.
So don't feel bad when you shop at one of our virtual events. They are supporting us. My phone is absolutely going crazy.
It is. It is totally doing that.
I'm like, what's buzzing?
The table shakes.
The table shakes, yeah. My chair feels really low today. There we go.
She feels short next to me today, evidently.
I was like,
I don't know. Now you might be taller than me.
I was feeling like I couldn't see the machine.
I think you're actually taller than me now.
I can still touch the foot pedal. There we go. That would have not been good. Short girl problems.
The mental pictures are so bad. They're so bad. Oh, Lord. Somebody might be redoing their bathroom.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I am redoing my bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and the appropriate height of the toilet was a big thing. You can't have a tall toilet when you're short.
Evidently not.
It's important.
It's always important.
It is so hard to shop for anything these days because it's really hard to find things that, and it's okay for me if it's not in stock, but it would be nice if it came in 2021 because I don't want to be without a bathroom for, 6 months.
No.
A few weeks is okay. But I don't want it to last a year.
Yes.
Not like my kitchen cabinets. That was fun. So
Bob Evans was a great Thanksgiving fix, though, wasn't it?
It was, except for that panic when they canceled my cabinet order and I was burning the other ones.
Yeah, that was
so
bad.
That didn't happen this time because the other cabinet is on its way. I got the shipping notification. Oh, I told Dave we have to have the shipping notification
before
we
the other
burn
ones
this
go out,
one.
right?
Yeah.
No doubt. No doubt.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what's going on, and you can see like she was saying, we've got some things that are coming up. We've got the 21st or the 24th embroidery club, or foot fetish coming up as well. Yeah. So OESD event and then clubs, and some gorgeous weather. After all of that rain, it got really, really warm.
Right.
So enjoying of that weather.
Yeah.
That's what's been happening in here. And then this Saturday, if you have signed up, we are
home.
Welcome home. Yes, it's got a full class, and we are planning and prepping and.
Yep. So you should have received your first email already with some homework. Your welcome homework.
Welcome homework.
That was a good play on words. That was great.
I literally just giggled the whole time I was typing it. I'm easily pleased, obviously. So, but yeah, so that's you'll get another email here in a couple of days, and then we will start Saturday morning.
Yeah.
Yep.
Your Zoom links aren't here yet, so.
Nope, not yet, but it will be only a couple more days, short week. So a couple more days, and that will be lots of fun. I'm really looking forward to it. The projects are just so darn cute.
Yes.
And it's got a lot of really cool techniques in there. So
some you didn't know you were going to get.
Didn't know. Yeah. Bonus. So, and Sarah and I played a little bit. So there's some things that Kimberbell didn't even plan to put in there that we're putting in.
That's right.
So,
because we can't follow directions.
Surprise.
If there's one thing we can tell about us, it's that we're not very good at following directions.
We are very consistent about not following the rules. There you go.
One of those things.
Just one of those
things.
Just
one of those things. Yeah. Yeah.
So what are we doing today?
So let's talk sergers, but more importantly, let's talk cover hem and chain stitching and what's
they're the same thing, right?
Yes. You did not expect me to say that. The only thing that's different is the quantity of needles. Really,
they really are the same thing. So
yes.
Hello, South Dakota. But yeah, so we get asked that a lot.
We do.
Well, what's the difference?
Right.
How many needles are in your machine?
Yeah.
Is the difference.
Right.
So,
and when we tell people that you can do all of these different things, they're like, what? I don't need that many needles, or I don't need that many threads. You do. You do.
Totally.
We're going to show you why. And the thing about it is I'm definitely not a garment sewer. So it's not in my wheelhouse, and I have no desire for it to be in my wheelhouse. So there are lots of other things that you can do with the chain stitch and the cover hem stitch if you are not a garment sewer. For garment sewing, it is fantabulous. Like you need it if you really want to make sure that your if your stuff if you want it to be like, I bought it off the, well, I don't want to say bought it off the rack because sometimes that's not great, but professional results. The cover hem is really what gives you that extra finished seam.
Yep.
And it really does a nice job. And there are lots of tools that will help you along the way. But we have some examples of some different things using the cover and
using
the chain.
It maybe not like you would expect to use it. So, I used to make clothes quite a bit when I was younger. And when my kids were younger, I made some things for them. I haven't made clothes in quite some time, but I do a lot of hemming. Shortening of pants. Caitlin likes scissors, and she likes to cut pant legs off and zigzaggy, really. Sometimes I've just gotten to the point where I'm like, you cut them, you wear them. I'm over it now, but sometimes you just got to make them look nicer and things. But I have to hem a lot for her. It's very, very difficult to find anything off the rack that's going to fit and fit well. So, it's nice having something that will easily and very quickly be able to give me that finished look without a whole lot of effort. So my serger generally sits in a cover stitch, and then I change it off of that to do random other things. But if it's just going to sit threaded, it's generally in a cover stitch because that's what I use it for mostly for me.
So we're going to kind of try to give you an overall view of how this works. Keep in mind that the only real way we could close in on all of these different parts is if we actually had a camera studio. We don't have any camera guys, so it's just us.
Don't have that.
So we're going to try to give you an overview of how things work. I realize that it won't be super close in detailed, but it's just kind of a general rule.
Yep.
But I will be walking you through verbally as I do this as well.
Yep.
So if you are at home and you want to try to follow along later on.
She'll be pointing out, you know, as she goes where
That's
she's
right.
at and which place to put what and all that good stuff.
And if we do really good, I bet you Lisa will verbally walk us through how you lock your stitches at the cover hem version. I do it a slightly different way, and so I never really remember that way, but that's a really great way to do it. And I think if you're a clothing person, that's a fantastic one. It's not hard. It's just it's not right there.
It's not there?
No.
Imagine that.
So I think I filled it with welcome home stuff this morning.
All right.
So
we're going to
let's switch the
screens
camera here. All right.
There we go. So
So
this is the Triumph.
This is the Triumph, yes.
So we're looking kind of at the top, looking down so you guys can see what's going on.
And if you have one of these machines, any version of these machines, you're going to have these great quick reference guides, or the recipe cards that I call them. This is going to walk you through everything that I'm doing. So if you're looking for where I got the information or where those instructions came from, that's where they came from. The only thing that I've done that I might not have, or that you wouldn't have been able to see, is I actually moved my needles already. So they were in the back position where the overcast part is. I already slid them in. You don't really have a great view of the needles, so I didn't think you wanted to see my hands in there doing that. So
the only thing that I was going to throw in there is we do every once in a while get people that say they've lost or they can't find that card.
Oh yeah.
They are downloadable. So you can print that out on just regular paper. If you can't find your original card that came with the machine, and if you are having trouble finding that, just let us know. We can help you locate that as well. So it is truly a lifesaver. You don't have to memorize all this stuff. You know, our computer brains only hold so much information. So you don't have to memorize all of these threading rules and whatnot. You don't have to remember it. You can just look at it, go, this is what I'm supposed to do, and then forget it immediately. It's okay.
Yep. So
if you can't find yours, you can go to the Babylock website and download that quick reference guide.
Absolutely. And a lot of this stuff, some more detailed videos of this, we did a Serger event. A lot of the information that we're talking about today will be found in that video as well. So if you want something that's just on Sergers, you can go back and watch that video. And
much more up close video of where to put this thread, so on and so forth. We did a very detailed threading guides for those different stitches in that video.
All right. So we have just a few things that we have to do to move from cover hem to overcast to cover hemming on this machine. And I always like to show people because it isn't that big of a deal. I've worked with other brands and sometimes it is a big deal. So this is a really nice way of doing it. It is super easy. It doesn't really matter which way you choose to do this. Essentially, we have this dial right here, which is our upper looper. So we don't want our upper looper to be coming over to the top because we're going to have this flat bed extension on there and it would be hitting there. So I'm going to turn this dial to the down position. It is very clearly marked down. So I've just turned it and then I'm going to turn my hand wheel and you're going to be able to kind of see this. It's going to move ever so slightly and then it kind of locks itself down. So it's stuck down here.
Maybe you heard the clink.
Yeah, it's not moving. So we have that in our down position. We want to make sure that we put our blade down. And then I like to make sure that I've turned my my blade here, or my needle width, down to the skinniest needle width. So the smallest needle width, that just moves this little blade closer in and the cover comes on and closes a little bit clearer. I typically take my drawer out at this point and my door out at this point.
I mean, you know,
and I like
old stuff.
That's right. I like to work with it kind of open on here when I'm getting things set up, and then the last thing that I will do is put my my little door piece on. So I've got a dial here, and I'm going to turn it into threading, because anytime we thread the machine, we need to have our little tubes over here, and they need to be sealed. So the first step is to turn the dial. The second step would be to turn my hand wheel. You may hear a little bit of a clink. You're going to turn it towards you, and it's nice and locked in place. You know that it's locked in place because you can no longer move
Can't
it.
move it. It stays
So
right there.
That's right. If the hand wheel is still moving, just keep going until it actually locks in place. Now, when we do simple serging, we're working sort of with the middle part of the machine. When we do our cover hem, we're going to be working with the outer parts of the machine. So I'm going to be actually using this guy over here to thread, and then I'm going to be using the grooves over here for the needles. So we're sort of in a different position right now. And so I've already got my thread spools where I want them, and then I'm just going to go ahead and thread. So on the side of the machine over here, if you have a different version that's not a Triumph, you will have a little dial here on the side. It may look slightly different, but the concept is the same.
Yep.
This guy right here is a tension disc. And so I currently have my presser foot down. I need to have my presser foot up when I get into this disc here, so it actually gets between the two pieces. I have mine down just because it's a little bit easier to see the side over here, but I will put it back up before I go.
Yep. So if you have an ovation, your tension dial is actually the piece that's sticking out the side of the machine there. So that's what it will look like. You actually have your dial on the outside, and that's the piece that you're actually wrapping the thread around, is the dial itself.
That's right. And so I am going to put the thread in the little hole on the side here, and then I'm going to come behind. So pull, come behind this, and then I usually just hold this up and kind of make sure that my thread is going in this groove. This is where I'm going to raise my presser foot up, because I want to make sure that it actually gets in there. And then I'm going to put that down. And I do like to sometimes just make sure that I've got it in place and sort of floss it in. I need to make sure that I have a decent size tail thread. So I'm going to pull a big piece, and then I'm going to drop the thread. I wonder if there's a pair of scissors over here.
Skizzers?
Oh,
We got skizzers. Whoop. We got slippery fingers, evidently, but you know.
Well, look, we have some really good kids ones here, so I won't poke myself.
Hey, it's what I found. All right.
All right. So I'm going to be putting my thread into the C part here, which is the cover hem or chain stitch looper. Everybody calls it something different. It is basically the same. It's the
C.
It's the C.
They
looper.
both start with a C.
That's right. And you are going to place your thread in this little tube here. If you find that you have dry hands or it sticks to you, you can kind of scooch this in a little bit. Look, there's a piece of my hair. That's not going to help us. This part here is going to be a little bit loud for a second. And what it's going to do is it's going to suck the thread through the machine, and it's going to put it into this little cubby hole over here, which you probably are not going to be able to see, but I'm going to open it up anyways, just so you can see. It's going to be back here. And it is right in there. It's near impossible to see, but there is lots of blue thread. You'll have to just take my word for it. If you open the side of your door, you're going to see your thread too. I promise.
It's there.
It's there.
She's not lying.
No. So you want to make sure that you leave it in there.
Yep.
Don't bring it up to the top. Don't pull it. Don't do anything. Just leave it right there. That is the proper place for it. So,
but you do need to check and make sure that you have thread in that little black box, because if you don't have it there, you need to pull more in. You do need to make sure there's some pooled there.
Yes.
Or else it's not going to work.
That's right. So if it's not there, you're never going to start your stitch. So
nothing there for the machine to pick up.
That's right. And I'm going to keep my machine in threading because I'm going to go ahead and thread the needles. I do have a dial over here. It says overlock or chain and cover. So on the Triumph, I need to move this over to the left so that my air threader for my needles actually works for the proper needles.
Set of needles.
We have 3 options of needles. We have the C1, 2, or 3. And so if you think about it like this, we have 3 needles, and it doesn't matter which 3 needles you have in there, If you have 3, it doesn't matter. But if you take 1 away, you have a 2 thread, right? And it doesn't matter if it's these two or if it's these two.
I'll say how well can you do this?
That's right. You still have two, and it's going to be narrow.
Flip people off here in a
no,
minute?
I am not. So, if you have two needles, it's always going to be if the two needles are together, it's always going to be a narrow.
Yep.
If you have your two needles spaced apart, so you have
Always
one
be a
and
wide.
the 1 and the 3, it's going to be wide. If you have 3 in there, it's going to be wide because you have 1 in the left and you have 1 in the right. If you are doing a chain stitch, you would just have a single needle in there. And it does not matter which position you put that in. You can put it in whatever position you want. On your foot, you have all of those little notches. Those are actually your needle positions. So you've got the ones in the front on the leftmost side here. That is your left, your center, and your right. So see 1, 2, and 3. And then the 2 over here that are a little bit longer, that's the needle positions for your overcast. So your 01 and 02 needles. So your feet will tell you exactly where your needle positions are. So you don't necessarily have to pay close attention. You do need to get your needles in. But once you have them in, you're going to use the guides on the front of your feet in order to make sure that you're actually stitching and putting your fabric where you want them to be.
The needles to place. Right.
So to thread the left side of the machine here, you can't really see, but I've got some little grooves in the back. And like I said, we did a video that really shows these in detail. So just pardon my arm and my reach right now. So I have the center needle, I have the center needle in.
And if you have an ovation, you're probably going, wow, that looked really easy. They have improved that little hook in the back. It does slide a little bit easier on the Triumph than it does on the ovation. It's a little bit more on the ovation. It just takes a little bit more finesse to get it there, but it does do the same thing. It's just a little bit more.
I think all of them work better when you kind of sort of work from the center back.
Because it's in the right position, at least.
That's right. It's really hard to go from the back part and then forward on them. So kind of the center out with the threads and you'll be better. And this portion over here is basically like a regular sewing machine.
Mm-hmm.
It just may feel like it's backwards to you because you're going from the left to the right position instead of maybe the right to the left position. So we're just going to go up and over, up and over, and then I have my 2 needles here and we're just going to thread those. So I'm going to pull my threader down and this is my chain 2, which is my needle position, and I'm just taking
sure, yeah,
right, slippery little booger. I've just got my problem is I'm left-handed. I'm trying to do it right-handed. So I've got my thread in my tweezers, and this is going to get loud for a second, guys. I'm sorry. So I can pull that right up. I could do both at the same time, and it is threaded. And I think Terry wants to know, Lisa, you can replace that on the ovation. Yes, I think you can replace that on.
Yes.
If you bring it in for service, they can replace that back piece. I think that was a statement.
Yes.
Not a question. All right. So thread and the other needle, turn the button on.
Gotta let go.
Still have to get it towards the hole. All right, so I've got those there and I'm just sliding them. This is kind of like a regular sewing machine in the sense that it's got a little gate back here that you're putting your threads on just to keep them close to the needles. So we have those set. I still need to put my door back on. This is really easy. It only goes on one way. So if you are thinking about how it goes on your machine, it goes on like this. So then you're just going to slide this in here like so. And we are
ready to go.
Threaded. I'm going to undo my threading here. And then we haven't adjusted our tensions on the machine. What does that say my looper tension should be?
So we are in a, what are we on?
2-thread narrow.
2-thread narrow. Your tension should be on your looper 1 to 2.
Okay.
And your needle 4 to 6. Look
Well,
at that.
Look at that. We're already there.
We're already there.
All right. So what is the number one important thing to remember if you're going to do cover or chain?
Well, there's probably more than one.
When you start sewing.
When you start sewing, you must start in the fabric.
That's
so
right.
Your needles have to be in the fabric for that looper to start. Otherwise, you just get a whole bunch of yuck and nothing starts.
Do I have to do that every time?
Nope. Once you have it started and you start getting that chain so it's looped out and you have the looper that you see, then it's good to go. I will admit that pretty much every time I do it, I start with my needles in the fabric, and that way I never screw up.
Yes, it's a good policy to get to. The only time that I would maybe make an exception to that rule is if I were going to cheat and maybe use this for some chain piecing.
Yes, I don't do that.
If you wanted to do something fun with that, then in that instance you'd be sliding fabrics forward.
Sure.
But you wouldn't always be starting
in the fabric.
But for most things, there really is no reason not to be there, because you're not usually working on something that you need a lead chain
need a lead
to.
Mm-hmm.
So,
what we got?
I don't know, a whole bunch of stuff.
Got a whole bunch.
Yeah.
Got some fabrics here. Do we need to just get started?
Yeah, I got a little scrap
you got that? Okay.
Yeah. So, you always want to test to make sure that you have the tensions set where they're at. And I usually recommend that you test on the same type of fabric, which I'm about to not do. So,
this is always a do as we say, not as we do kind of situation.
I think it'll be a lot easier to see the stitches on this bright white fabric with black needle thread and turquoise looper.
Yeah.
So I didn't check my
stitch length.
So we're at the end, and it is okay to stitch
sew off.
That's right. There we go. And you can see it looks great on the top. The question is, how does it look on the bottom? So it's not perfect. So we probably need to make a little bit of an adjustment. So this darn black thread.
Mm-hmm. You picked the thread.
I did. So I'm going to make it just a little looser. And we're going to give that a whirl. Sometimes, since it didn't actually break and the stitch is there, it might actually be fine once I put it on the fabric that I want. So here we have this. It's not terrible. It's looking pretty good. And let's give it a whirl on our stretchy knit fabric. So we're going to show you some tools that will make this a lot easier. I'm eyeballing it right now using the table part here, but we have this really cool fabric guide.
So it comes with the screws to attach it, which I'm holding. So the screws go in the bar at the top, which go into these screw holes on the table. And this little guy here lifts up and slides. And then when you get it where you want it to, you push it down and it locks in place.
Yep. So your screw holes.
Excuse me. I didn't bring a screwdriver though.
That's all right. Movie magic. It doesn't have to be perfect. If we sewed perfect all the time, You do have to put the screw in straight though.
It does probably help just a little bit.
Yeah. I'm sure Tony and Jean wouldn't appreciate it if I said, yeah, I stripped the screw on this. I just made it work. All right. So that's good enough for the purpose of this. But you can see we have this really cool fabric guide. And like Lisa was saying, we slide this dial up and then we can push this over here. So this will help me make sure that I'm staying nice and straight.
Yep.
And making sure that my stitch looks professional. I can feel underneath here, so I know that the top edge of my fabric is going to go past where my needles are, because I can see where they're supposed to be.
It's not quite as hard when you're doing this here.
Mm-hmm.
What's really difficult is when you're in the round and you can't see as well.
That's right.
So it's a lot harder when you're, you know, hemming a cuff on a pair of pants or something and you can't see because, you know, where you're working is buried.
Dark and buried. Yeah. I also did take the time to press this, so
that makes a
little different.
Huge difference.
So here we have our top, and I know it's there. We go. We can actually see the stitches now a little bit. You just have to get a little closer. One of the fantastic things that I love about this is being able to do this.
Yep.
And not have the stitches pop out on you, because there's nothing worse than that. And there we go. We have our narrow chain stitch on the back. And we have this
up a little bit
on, there we go, on the top. So we have, look at it's got so much
give to it
stretch. This is what's on your t-shirts and your knit shirts.
Just pick up whatever shirt you're wearing. I would guess that probably at least 75% of you are wearing something that has that hem at the bottom of your shirt.
Yep.
Not every one of you, but I would guess a bulk of you.
Yep. I got it. Yours is a little bit of a rolled hem.
Mine's a rolled hem.
Yeah. Yep. I do.
But you know what you really want to do if you're looking for that actual professional edge is you want the hem to be at the cut edge. So you want to measure that cut edge to be right on that line. So whatever your fold is, that's where you're going to set that guide to be. So you would want to slide that over so that you wouldn't have this up here.
Or you're going to
cut it after the fact.
That's right.
It's much easier to press it and actually nail it right on there.
It is. So, and Lisa is absolutely right. However, the only thing that I would gauge is that once you cut it off, it's gone. So if
that is a true statement.
If you're unsure or you're not sure about how you're doing this,
and stretchier fabric is much harder to nail than it is on like a cotton or something that's a little bit stiffer, that's not going to move for you.
That's right.
Quite as much. But as you're learning, try a wide stitch versus a narrow, because that gives you a little bit more room for error. You've got, you know, that 2.5 millimeter error wiggle room that gives you a little bit more. Oops, I didn't go straight right there.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
You've got a little bit more room. So to answer that question, Pam, the guide is a separate purchase unless you got a foot kit with yours. And so this is where that little one is. So this is that packaging. And that foot runs $49.99. If you purchased your machine from us, you would, of course, get your discount off of that as well. So that comes with the screws. Your machine comes with 2 screws, which you could certainly use, but this one does come with the screws as well. So,
and I just want, we're still working through our website. All of the stuff is up on the website. If you buy something online and we don't have a special
your
code
discount's
for you
not there yet,
just put in the notes that you purchased your machine from us. We can
credit you back a discount,
and we will handle that, or drop us an email and we will make sure that we adjust the prices of that.
Absolutely.
We are working on getting you guys a code that you can
process
online
for those items, but
we haven't made it there yet, but it's coming. So like I said, if you're at home and you're thinking, I really want this fabric guide and I don't have it, but it would be cheaper for me in store.
Yep.
Yes, for the 24 hours that it is, you'll be charged full price, but after that, it will be discounted.
We can absolutely take care of it. You bet. Yep.
Iman is asking, did you ladies send a note about this Saturday's class? You should have received the first email.
Hang on just a sec.
All right. So while she's checking on that for you, I'm going to start. We'll continue talking about this. So here we have that narrow. Now, Lisa was talking about the wide. So literally all I would have to do to make this wide is I would just need to move my middle needle and now I've got a wide stitch.
So it looks like, we have your Hotmail address. Is that not a good address for you? Let me know, or shoot me an email and I'll attach. I'll reply back to the email that you send me with all of the information we sent.
Yep.
Because I sent it on Saturday.
Yeah, Saturday.
I sent it on Saturday.
And it came from stitching@LeabuSewingCenter.com.
Yep.
Okay, so I moved the needle position over to the left so that we have a wide one, and I'm going to work on the other side of this, which is not pressed.
Not pressed, so much harder. Like seriously much harder. So Wonder Clips are fantastic for this to help if you are unable to press for whatever reason. You can measure and Wonder Clip because it will keep everything in line. Tighter screws also really make a difference.
I can do it.
I didn't say she couldn't do it. I'm sorry.
That one over there's plugged in, so it's still hot.
That's all right. But thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. I'm never straight at all. That pressing really makes a big difference.
That really makes a difference.
So when I get to the end, close to the end, why don't you walk us through the
Yeah,
famous
absolutely.
stop. All right.
So generally, I'm going to be doing this when I've gone over a stitch. So
Yeah.
I've gone in around and I've literally tracked on top of stitches that I've already sewn. So I wouldn't necessarily do it here. I would sew off the end if that were the case. So
Yes.
just clarification of that.
Yes.
So we're going to have the stop with the needles up, which she has done. We do need to lift the foot, and we are going to take your screwdriver, tweezers, something. This screwdriver is phenomenal because it fits perfectly underneath the foot. And if you need to, you can get a little bit of tension release by pulling the threads forward. Sometimes, depending upon where
Which
they're
machine?
at and which machine you have, it's really hard to get the thread to move. So what we're going to do is we're going to sweep the threads forward above the fabric, but under the foot, and pull that forward till approximately where we have this. And you should see in this case, both of the black threads. It's very, very difficult. I understand.
There you go.
have
They can
two?
kind of see it. Yeah, I think I got two there. Oh, nope, I only got one. Thank you. It's hard to get good help over here.
Yeah, you got a big clump of.
I'm stuck.
I see that. I don't think your needle's up high enough. I'm trying to.
No. Oh, here.
It's the little
There we
things.
go.
All right, so you need both of your thread loops. Maybe you guys can see that now. Yep, on top of the piece here. So we're
There you
going to
go.
take our scissors.
I should do it left-handed because I am a lefty.
That would probably have helped. So now with your right hand, could you
Yes.
please snip both of those
Sure.
pieces?
And does
So
it matter?
It doesn't matter where you're going to snip them.
Okay.
So what we need to do is we need to remove them from the attachment of
Sure.
the machine. And you want to wiggle a little bit so that you're not attached. And then you're going to snap it to the left and pull it out of the machine. What that's going to do is it's going to pull your top threads down,
Mhm.
and it's going to pull everything below.
All right. Ready?
Stretch fabric's a little harder. We missed something
I
there.
missed something. There's
Yep.
my bottom thread.
All right. So what that's going to do is pull everything down here. Let's do it again on
On this one?
fabric that you can see a little bit easier.
All right.
let's, should we slide out?
What's that? I don't have the thread in the right tension here. So it's a really
I got
crappy
ya.
looking stitch.
Gotcha.
So I was thinking I should probably do that. There we go.
We're just going to manipulate a few things.
We're just going to make it do what we want. That's right. So I'm going to rethread.
I'm going to get this out of the way so you guys can see. No longer receiving emails on my Hotmail when it's in distribution. Wonderful. I'll do that. Okay, great. Sounds good. And I will get that sent when we get offline.
All right. So
Where'd we go?
we
We lost your phone, I think.
lost my phone. We sure did. That's weird.
Well, hot diggity. Did it die?
I don't think so. You want to thread that and I will.
Oh, sure. Do you know which one's which? The one you just handed me, which side?
That's left.
Okay.
Needle 1. I love having technical difficulties.
Isn't it fun? We'll see how's my contact doing because we're not set up in threading either. So I hope everybody had a fantastic 4th. Anybody have any fantastic fireworks that I should totally make sure I go see next time? We went to Toledo on Saturday night, and we just went down for dinner.
Mm-hmm.
And when we were driving back, there's a bunch of KOA campgrounds like Dundee,
Yeah.
and there was like a ton of fireworks.
Yeah. They do a lot of those. Ta-da!
That's great. I'm not to dying. I can't see the eye.
That's okay. Oh, Jesus.
Oh wait, I take that back.
I lost it again. I have zero idea.
Okay.
Correct. Yeah, so that would be an extra $15 for the
I always have trouble getting the thread right tensions.
that number is not something on file here.
Carolyn, I assume you mean on the cover side of the machine in that right notch. Like we were talking about earlier, they are just a little bit crankier in that position. It is definitely a little more touchy. If you use the guide, so literally set it in the guide first. So, and then go to the back of the machine and then pull to the side. It should make it a little bit easier.
Or bring it in and we'll replace that tension piece
Or
with the new version.
we can replace it with the easier version.
Yeah. How about if I hold the camera
Okay.
and we show a close-up of what we're trying to talk about? Tag team sewing.
All right. Foot pedal?
Yep, I'll do the foot pedal. How's that?
That sounds great. All right.
Foot up.
It's needles up. Here, let me reach under. All right, needles are up. Foot is up. What we want to do is, again, we're going to give that just a little bit of looser tension, and we want to manipulate the threads in front of the foot. I think everybody can see that pretty clearly this time around.
So
Get some smaller. No, I don't. Those are tiny, tiny. All right, and all we want to do is, I'm not left-handed. We want to snip those little guys right there. We want to give a little bit of a jiggle, and you can actually feel that releasing from underneath, and that's what that jiggle is is getting off those feed dogs and releasing. And then we're going to snap to the left, and you can see very clearly that I have no threads on the top.
Yep.
And where they went is they pulled below.
Yes.
And that's what we're looking for. We still need to clip our looper because we didn't have access to that before. And now I can take whatever tools that I have. You can use your little Barbie spatula or pizza scooper and feed that right back into there. But what that does is it pulls those and yanks them to the back.
Perfect.
So if you had sewn over top of where you already were, you've tied that in so that there's no need to knot or anything. You're just going to bury those in the seam.
Awesome. Isn't that cool, guys? Great job, Lisa.
Hey, that I can do.
We're getting really good at winging it, aren't we?
Well, you know, when technology decides to
That's right.
take a...
So how
Don't.
about if you take one of those needles out and we talk about chain stitch real quick while I'm holding this?
All right. Do you care which one?
I do not.
We're going to go for
'Cause
the one
you're
that's
gonna
closer
be-
to me.
Doing it. I can do the foot pedal.
Good point. We're just going to put that over there.
I'm in our new email address is scrolling down at the bottom. So it is stitching@labusewingcenter.com. You should be able to miss it.
Is that a challenge?
Challenge accepted. All right. So I now just have my looper and a single thread and a single needle. All right. We should still be pretty good on our tensions. Where are we at over there?
We're between 1 and 2.
All right. That might not be good, but we'll see what it does.
Okay. Do you need me to move it?
We'll see. Let's see what it does. Hit the gas. Hello.
Actually, it's pretty
That
good.
looks pretty darn good. We'll go with it.
Yeah.
All right. So
Sometimes you just get lucky.
this little guy right here is just like sewing with a sewing machine. The only thing is that we don't have a reverse.
That's right.
So basically, and I wasn't holding on to the fabric. I thought she was just going to sew a little bit so I could check the back, and she kept going. So it's super duper crooked.
Yep.
Super duper. Anyway, this is the cool thing. So what you can do is basically you can sew upside down and get this really cool heavy stitch. If you put something really neat in your looper, you can throw in a top stitch. You can put it in your top needle. You
There
can do whatever
Might
you
be
would
some
like.
samples under there.
I'm digging. I'm digging. I'm
I
digging.
brought a bunch of cool
You brought a
samples.
couple cool things.
Yep.
So this is a really, really cool sample. So we've got here some really neat stitching. So we've got a little bit wider stitch, and then we have the looper stitch right next to that. How cool is that? That you can do some decorative stitching, literally just straight stitching, a little bit of wave stitching around there, and it can come out so cool. Just flip your fabric upside down and you can have that looper stitch be that decorative stitch. So much fun. And then we've got a crosshatch on the back of this little guy here that we have the same type of thing. So how cool is that you can use that looper stitch as a decorative stitch? So all of us who think that we only need to use this if we make clothes, not so much.
That's right.
There are so many fun things that we can do. We've got a lot of different samples.
Apparently, I was really having fun when I did this one.
We evidently really like to be able to do that kind of stitch here because there might be
There's a
few
few of those.
different samples that you can see that how you can have that. There's even more.
Right.
And so you could really see how easy that is to make anything just really, really pop by using that looper. So all you have to do is literally sew upside down.
Yep. So this one is wide, right? It's a 2-thread
Yep.
wide.
But
The yellow is a narrow. This one is a 3-thread.
which if you flip it upside down, you can see what you've got. So the other side clearly shows you. Now, we just did a chain stitch, which if you look on this side here, you can very clearly see this is doodling.
Yep. Free motion
So
quilting.
free motion quilting on your Triumph. This is what you need that 5-inch throat here for, guys.
That's right.
Because you couldn't do this if you didn't have the throat.
you would not be happy.
You would
with
be
us.
grumbling.
Right.
Okay. So check that out. Is that not cool?
How fun is that, right?
Isn't that neat? So it can be straight lines mixed in with curved lines. You can literally do anything that you want just with fun thread and a really cool machine. So you can use this just like a regular sewing machine. So if you did join us that day, we literally built that entire bag just on this serger.
That's right.
So we used the straight stitch. We used the overlocking. We did all kinds of different things, but you can even insert zippers. So it's literally using a chain stitch. Okay, here's the other side so you guys can see where that is. Here's the looper. Straight stitch down there, flip it open, and bam, there's your zipper.
There's my zipper.
It is so easy to use this for multiple things. We actually got a phone call earlier today about being able to do gathering with your serger. This is so much fun to be able to mix and match and do so many different things.
Literally, when you are doing a gather in cover hem, it's the most simple thing. You literally put your differential feed up and you increase the stitch length and you stitch. You can put your finger behind there to hold more gather.
Yep.
There are a couple of different feet that you can use. We've done the shearing foot on a Facebook Live before. So,
Yep.
But it's so easy to do, and you get so much more gather.
And there
on the cover hem side.
are specialty feet that you can add in to do things that maybe you need an extra pair of hands for, that hold that fabric right where you want it to be, so that you can add in and make the casings and make all of those hemming and all of those different things that you really need like 4 hands to be able to do.
Yeah.
There's all of those different things. So these are a couple different things that Sarah had me grab and pull over here that kind of are a really fun piece. I want this one stay where I want it to stay. So really fun and simple things just by adding in those wonderful screw holes, and you put those things in here. So we've got a question over here. When we both say it looks really good after viewing the stitches, what are you looking at?
So
that's actually a really good question.
put Pam's name.
So,
Yep.
there
we go.
I'm new at this. You
There
always
we go.
do that.
Yep.
So what are we looking at? That is a great question. So what we're looking at is, this is where we're looking at the back of the chain stitch.
Yep.
So we're seeing nice, tight, not big loops. There's not loose. It's literally stitched, and they're grabbing hold of, so we can see both the black and the teal that's grabbing hold of that. And so they're kind of combining. That's what the chain stitch looks like on the back, is it almost looks like a twisted stitch. And where you're getting that. So this, on the other hand, doesn't actually look good. So don't look at that.
Right, but that's a good example.
But that is a good example. So when you turn this over,
thread is not tight enough, so it needs to be redone, and that's what it shouldn't look like.
But over here, it actually looked really good. So I'm not sure exactly what we did differently between the beginning and the end of that, because the beginning it started off looking pretty good.
So I think that's where we were
we were switching out of okay. But Pam, that's what we are looking for, is that you're not getting big loopies on the back, and that you can turn that over, and what you're seeing is a very consistent stitch.
What you want your chain looper threads to look like is this. You want them to be nice and even. So that straight line on both sides, and the looper zigzagging basically between those two. Right. And if it's not, then it's just like a sewing machine, right? You have to make adjust a little bit of an adjustment on your tension. And learning to do that is, like I always say, the easiest way to do it is to practice on some scrap fabric, and just, you have to screw it up first. Right. You've got to, so that you can see what it looks like wrong. Right. You got to make like a drastic change sometimes in order to really understand how the tension of the looper affects the whole thing, and the tension of the needles affects. You really have to do like extremes in order to really get a good idea of what you're doing. So for instance,
let's just turn it over here for just a second. This is your looper, which makes sense because that's where we're threading it. This is the looper. I know my nails look like crap, and I'm sorry, but this is that looper tension. So if we change this, say all the way, and you just flip that all the way up and you do a stitch, you're going to see a really ugly stitch, but you'll understand what it looks like if your tension is all the way up. And as you step it down to get it kind of back into that normal position, you can then tell yourself, oh, well, it needs to go this direction because I now know this is the direction that it goes when it looks like this.
Yes.
And the only way to learn that is to literally get some scraps and do that. Same thing over here. Don't do them both because that's not going to teach you anything. Make one change and drastically so you can see what that is, and then come over and do the same thing on the other so that you can literally see what happens to the needle tension when you are off one direction and then the other, so that you can literally teach yourself which way goes right, which way goes wrong. And if you see an error, then you know which direction to turn it to fix the problem.
Switch us.
I could do that. Do you want me to be only?
Yeah. There we go.
Okay.
I have zero idea what
Who knows?
the thing was doing, but it
So-
was definitely not behaving.
It's not behaving today. We're behaving.
Yes.
It's totally not us. So the point is these are fantastic machines, and they will do so many really cool things. And understanding them really is the fun part.
Right.
You know, when you can sit down in front of a machine and go, oh, that didn't do what I wanted it to do, and you know what to tweak.
Mhm.
You know, it can be very frustrating if you sit down and you're like, ugh. But you know, big picture, there's not a lot of tweaking on these machines. It's very, very minor. Whenever there is one.
Black thread is awful. So
True statement.
honestly, if you're having trouble and you can't get something right and you're using black thread, change to a different color. You're probably spot on with everything. It's probably just the thread. It's just black thread
it's
is just it's
icky.
junk.
Yep.
Yeah. Even the very absolute best quality black thread is still junk.
You know, it's got so much in it.
So much dye.
It's just got so much. It's yeah. But the you know, these cards here really are very, very accurate for, I would say, at least 80 percentage,
Yeah.
maybe even higher.
Maybe higher. Yeah.
Maybe even higher percentages of fabrics that are out there. So it's when you start throwing in weird fabric, weird thread, and you know, hey, let's put it in a super humid. No, I'm just kidding. But
Right,
I mean,
right.
you know, it's when you start combining multiple weird things is where you're really going to get where you have to tweak. Outside of that, most days I don't have to do anything. It's literally I thread it and I sew. There's not a lot of weird.
The camera back up for just a second. I just
Okay.
want to point out the second thing that we get. Sometimes it's related to the needles, and it's in here on your door. It'll tell you what needles it
Yep.
recommends that you use. While we can and we do sometimes often
Substitute in something
different
for a
needles.
specific project.
That's right. The reality is that is the best needle to get the best looking stitch. So
Yep.
there are times when I change the needle to something else, and no matter what it is that I do, I cannot get my stitch or my tensions to be perfect, and it is related to the needle. The needles are actually made a little bit different. So
The length and- yep.
and the scarf in the back are a little different than a traditional needle. So sometimes it really is the needle. And if you have some of these in your arsenal,
Swap it out and see if it fixes the problem.
that's right. Sometimes you just
Yeah.
have to go back there. Like I said, sometimes we're changing them because we're trying to do a decorative technique, and oftentimes that works. But if I'm doing traditional serging,
This is the needle to
that
go
is
to.
definitely, and it's oftentimes in cover hem that it makes such a big difference. So I
Yep.
just wanted to point that out. And it's not just this serger. Lots of sergers
Right.
inside the cover, they will tell you the actual needle that you need.
That they are telling you to use.
That's right. And I would definitely recommend snap a picture of that. Leave it someplace that you can find, because they're sometimes they're different. Different brands are
Right.
different. And we don't always have easy access to find what particular needle it is, especially if it is not our brand.
Very good point. Very, very good point.
Close me.
We're out.
We're out.
So Karen, whenever you're there, we're there for you. So yes, these are really great. There's definitely a curve, but big picture is that reference guide is going to be your savings grace.
Yep.
Absolutely. And I just got to say, I really love this one, and I'm really jealous.
Right.
I'm guessing mine's not at home yet.
No, I don't think we're getting ours until like
tomorrow. So, but yeah, I'm very excited too. So maybe just a little jealous.
Yeah.
Maybe
Totally. But
more than a little.
We'll definitely, as soon as we have them, we'll start.
We'll get dates posted for when we'll do stitch outs. So
Yep. I know Kimberbell did some fun videos
Mhm.
for, I don't know if they're doing it for all of them or some of them.
I don't
haven't
either.
been paying attention.
it said
There's-
3 of 6, but I don't know. I didn't see anything that when or if they said they would be doing the other 3. So we'll see. But we will definitely be doing those as well.
That's right.
So
Because they're so much fun.
yeah, it's a good way to make us do them
Absolutely.
and get paid for it.
And get paid for
I
it, right?
mean,
We should have
hello.
dueling machines. Sorry, team. We're going to use all the machines
We're going to
today.
just have them all going at one time. And
That's right.
Yeah, absolutely. So, hopefully this really helped for those of you who have been confused about what stitches are what and how they can be used, what they look like, what the difference between one and the others are. And hopefully you enjoyed it.
That's right.
So, sorry about the technical difficulties. It evidently is going to be a thing
Yes.
because it's a thing. There you go.
I blame the internet.
So I don't ever know which
Oh, that's
thingies
right.
that those are.
All right.
So thanks for joining us. We will be here tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. doing the fill in the blank for July. It is super cute. I can't wait
Yes.
to do it. And
Fit
the
bee.
Fit Bee first thing tomorrow morning. And we do have extras and we do have embellishment kits that are available. So if you guys would like one, just let us know. We can certainly ship those out for you. And
Those are not on the
those are not
website.
on the but they're not on the website, but they are also not on the not allowed to email list. So we can email you that file and
That's right.
we'll get you taken care of.
Absolutely. Okay.
All right.
Thanks.
We'll see you next time. Thanks for joining us.
Joining us.
All right. Bye, guys.